Good evening, everyone. My name is Kameron Thompson, and today I will be presenting my marketing research project, Unleashing Success for SAHO. SAHO stands for Small Animal Hospitals of Owasso. Located in Skiatook and Owasso, they were founded in 2006 and are in partnership with the National Veterinarians Association. The company specializes in providing veterinary, grooming, and boarding services to cats and dogs. So the marketing problem within this company is that they have limited visibility with their clientele and potential clientele. All of their promotions are found online through mediums such as Facebook, Instagram, and their own website. The company does not currently spend any money on advertising, so theoretically we are testing how SAHO can create more brand awareness through mediums that do not rely on the internet. Which leads us to our research question: will social media and online advertising drive more business for SAHO than traditional advertising methods? The reason we chose this question is because we think it entails the idea of collecting samples from people who are and are not current customers of SAHO. It will also help us understand the different types of advertising that people remember the most. Our secondary research entails lots of information regarding the current success of different mediums of advertising. 80% of billboards being noticed monthly. Kurt Coffer discusses the effects of radio and how effective radio advertising still is to this day. And we also thought it would be important to mention the fact that ad blockers are becoming a very common thing in the usage of the internet all around. 42.7% of people use ad blockers online. And this can include sponsored content on platforms such as Facebook. At the same time, we also looked for data that shows the benefits of using social media as the sole form of advertising for the company, and found that Facebook advertising platforms offer a 70% return on investment through most of their programs. The population and sample we decided to take for our primary research includes the entire potential population of the Tulsa metro area, which includes about 1 million people. Census Reporter accurately grabs this data for us, and our reasoning for accessing this wide of a variety of a potential sample is because speaking with some of the management at SAHO, they have reported to me numerous customers who drive over an hour just to visit them and are loyal to their business and their business alone for all veterinary, boarding, and grooming services alike. However, the most likely potential candidates would be Owasso residents and towns that are within a 30-minute radius, such as Collinsville or Claremore. And so we made sure our population mostly gathered people of that region, as they're going to be the most likely potential candidates to be customers there. The methodology of our survey that we sent out aims to use quantitative data over qualitative. Our reasoning for this is because quantitative data will give us direct statistics on how people understand advertising, whereas qualitative data, we figured it would be a lot of personal interviews and personal stories, and at the end of the day, we did not believe there would be enough evidence to suggest yes, no, or an indifferent response to our research question. Some of the questions on our survey include anything from the types of advertising people are most remembering of, or the types of pets they might own, how many pets they own, and how much they're willing to travel in order to visit a veterinary service. Here is the Google Forms link for our survey, and following will be the data collected from each of those questions. For our first question, we gathered zip codes to ensure that everyone taking the survey lived within the Tulsa metro area, and also to ensure that a lot of our responses came from the applicable region. Our findings also found that of our 18 respondents, a majority of the people who took the survey were female and are between the ages of 18 and 30. We asked people how many pets they own, and a majority of people responded with 2 to 3 pets, usually cats and dogs. That can be seen right here. 50% of the people who took the survey are cat owners, 72% are dog owners, and we got just a couple respondents in horses, birds, reptiles, and one respondent who does not own any pets. This question, how likely are you to remember each of the following mediums of advertising, is one of the most important questions on our survey, as it directly gauges what people remember in terms of an advertisement, from online to billboards to flyers. It is important to note off of this that newspapers and flying ads have a low remembrance rate. Social media and word of mouth remembrance is high. In fact, it's so high that no one reported a 1 being the least likely to remember on social media or word of mouth advertising. You can also see here that streaming services, billboards, and AM/FM radio advertisements have a relatively evened out consensus on remembering it a lot or remembering it none at all. We also asked participants how many of them have used a veterinary service in Owasso. 8 of them had used Owasso veterinary offices, and 10 surveyors have not. For those of them that did hear about that veterinary service, over half of them were not applicable because they had not been to an Owasso veterinary service. But of the ones that had, all of them answered word of mouth or social media, meaning that they only heard about Saho because of a word of mouth, someone like a relative telling them, or because they saw it on a social media post. A couple other questions we thought were very important. Have you ever visited or heard of Small Animal Hospital of Owasso? This was to get a direct number of the surveyors that have been there. A third of our surveys had not heard of them or been there, while 39% have been there and close to 28% have heard of them but have not been there. We also asked those people how they had heard about Saho, and all of the responses we got were social media, online search engine result, or again, word of mouth. We also asked participants if they have ever purchased services for their dog that were not for a medical reason, such as grooming, spa treatments, dental, boarding, etc. This question was put on here to understand how often people may be willing to go out to the vet's office. Some people only take their pet if they're sick. Some people want to get their pets pampered up. So we found that 38% of participants take their dog for grooming. 2 respondents found spa treatments as another service that they use. Boarding and dental were matched at just above 25% each, and half of our surveyors had not purchased outside of medical reasons for their dogs. The data we gathered was helpful to us in answering our question and understanding the ways people understand advertising and how they view it as a whole. The locations that we gathered on our survey prove the willingness people are willing to go to take their pets to a veterinary office. The secondary data we grabbed generally is supporting traditional mediums of advertising, such as like billboards, newspaper flyers, etc. However, when grouping social media and word of mouth against the other forms that we surveyed people on our 1 to 5 not likely, a lot likely question, we found that 64% combined between social media and word of mouth were somewhat likely or more to remember mediums of those types of mediums of advertising. In terms of AM, FM, TV, and billboards, only 35% of our participants found themselves somewhat likely or more to remember this medium of advertising, with nearly half of the participants answering this question as unlikely or less. Looking at flyers, newspapers, and flying ads, some of the oldest ones in the book, we found that only 8% of our surveys were somewhat likely or more to remember those formats of advertising, and a whopping 76% answered unlikely or less. Our data also helped us conclude those who don't know of Saho, which was 33% of participants, preferred traditional advertising methods as a whole individually, whereas most of the ones who did know of Saho, over half, preferred social media and word of mouth. They answered social media and word of mouth as their most likely mediums of remembering an advertisement for a business. To answer our research question, will social media and online advertising prove to be more successful and beneficial than traditional advertising mediums? Not exactly. We found that traditional advertising can help raise brand awareness for the company, but it's not necessary based on their current projections and sales patterns. Their current social media presence should continue as is in order for them to continue with their success. Weighing the benefits of their current clientele and the outreach they have on them versus the potential clientele and the mediums of advertising they see most, it's not necessary for the company to introduce new ways of brand awareness outside of their current patterns. And these are the references I used. Thank you.